I suppose it would be simply horrible to go to the cemetery where your loved ones are buried and to find that it had been vandalized. You read about stories like that every now and then in the news, and it's really bad that people are disrespectful to the living, but for some reason there just seems to be just an extra just awfulness to those who are disrespectful to the dead. Could you imagine if you showed up at the cemetery to visit the grave of a loved one and the grave was empty? Could you imagine if someone had taken the body and the casket of your loved one away? I think in John 20, that's how Mary Magdalene felt. She shows up at the tomb of Jesus, John 20 tells us in verse 11, and it's empty. And she thinks someone has stolen his body. And in her mind and her heart, which is already grieving so much because she loved Jesus so much and he had done so much to bless her and help her, and now she thinks, horror of horrors, someone has stolen his body and taken it away. And she had come to honor him and the other ladies as well. And what a terrible feeling she must have felt that very moment. The parallel to this in Mark chapter 16 verse 9 tells us that Mary Magdalene was the first person Jesus appeared to. No details are really given in Mark's account, but they are right here in John 20. In fact, after she looks into the tomb in verse 11 of John 20, two angels are there, and they ask her, "Who are you seeking?" And she says to them, "Please tell me where the body of Jesus is." And they ask, "Why are you weeping?" And she says, "Because they've taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have lain him." And when she said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but did not know that it was Jesus. She wasn't expecting to see him, much less alive. And Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you seeking?" She, supposing him to be the gardener, said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away." And she then was addressed by Jesus as Mary. She recognized him. She recognized his voice. And she said, "Rabboni," which means teacher. And then Jesus' response to her is "Do not cling to me." Some translations say, "Do not touch me." But apparently Mary just wrapped herself around him, perhaps at his feet or something, and was clinging to him because she was so overcome with emotion. He then tells her to go on and to tell the disciples that he will appear to them and that he is alive, and she goes and does that. Could you imagine the emotions that Mary was feeling that day, going from the bottom of feeling such distress to the height of knowing that now he is alive? I saw him. I talked to him. I even touched him, and I know that he's real. What a great blessing it is for all people to feel that same feeling and to have that same knowledge. Jesus is risen from the dead, and he's real.